Hi there, this is Maraya. She's been in my mastermind for a few months now. Maraya, tell everybody what you do.
Oh, I'm a women's health provider. So I work with a lot of women that might enroll with a program like yours and they have their mastermind, they have their business coaches, but their physiology's in the way. So they're exhausted, their hormones are a wreck. Maybe their passion needs to be brought alive. And so I'm a women's health provider and help them along that journey.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
So, Maraya, where were you before you started working with me? What was going on in your life?
Yeah, I honestly, I was doing really well.
Mhm.
I was on track to multiple six figures and growing as a young entrepreneur. And I watched you for a little bit and just observed your energy and watched how I felt triggered by you and had to realize that there was something there in that. And just continue to pay attention to what I felt in your space.
What did it bring up for you about what you weren't in alignment with? Like, what did it feel, what in your space? Where did you feel like there was
Mhm.
something there?
Mhm. It's a great question. I think I probably got caught up in comparisonitis. I think I felt triggered by what wealth represented.
Yeah.
And, I can use the labels, but it was really just how you were utilizing your wealth. And, my guess is it probably was me really not being ready to fully feel and express my wealth. And it felt triggering for me.
Okay. So and it happens to people though,
Mhm.
what would you feel was an immediate result after working with me or in the container too?
Yeah. So the first one was in the first few days. I started playing around with, yes, I'll receive that. And just being grateful for whatever it was. My husband fixed the speaker so I could play music on my Sonos speaker. Yes, I'll receive that. And made some tea in the morning. Yes, I'll receive that. And just acknowledging that receiving is receiving no matter where it comes from. And it must have been day 4 of being in your program and watching the modules. And we got a letter from the IRS saying, we've made a mistake on your taxes last year, and here's an extra $2,500. And I just had to go, right. It's not about where it's coming from. It was just a sign for me from the universe that it's about getting into the right energy, and receiving is receiving.
It is. It is. It's beautiful. I love that. Um, what successes have you seen that in your life right now since we're in the chair that you feel like it's long term, like that they're lasting, that you've really been able to go through?
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, I'm only a few months in,
Right.
but I think there have been 2 big ahas and successes to share. One was my biggest month ever. So I think it was my second month working with you. Maybe I ended up with a 93K month, which was my best ever.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
It was big.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
big.
big.
It was big.
Um,
What were you making before that? What was your biggest month before that?
my biggest cash month before that, I think, was 75K.
That's a huge jump. That's pretty good.
It's a big
Yeah.
jump. It's a big
Yeah.
jump. And but it also came with more ease.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, I can't pinpoint. I mean, I have a few different coaches and I'm grateful for all of them, and I'm grateful for the work that I'm doing, but I definitely felt like in that same month, I'm a family of 5, so I have 3 young kids, 9 and younger. We all ended up with COVID, and I mean there was just a lot going on in that month, and it was beautiful to see that it felt like it was with ease and coming from my power, and to be able to receive the money.
Yeah, and be open to it. And what do you
Yeah,
feel like the work has done, the work that you've been doing? Because you show up and do the work.
I do.
What work do you feel like you've been doing that's really helped you maybe
Yeah.
facilitate or open to that ease? Because almost every single woman said I've had my biggest month since being in this container. So there's something that's here, and even for my own curiosity to want to know what it is.
Mhm, mhm. I show up, I'm on the calls, and I just allow myself to be in the space of receiving whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm definitely absorbing the module content that you have on the all access. mastermind space. And sometimes I'll just put in my earbuds and I allow myself to go to sleep to it, especially your meditations, and just go, all right, this is impacting me, whether it's conscious or unconscious.
Yeah.
And I think, when you asked about long-term impact, one of my big breakthroughs was actually on one of the hot seat calls, and I wasn't the one on the hot seat. It was another woman. And I think there's nothing like being in a container of other driven women that are really up to something, and we're all in agreement that we want to create big lives and that we know energy is important and mindset matters. And I think that this woman that was on the hot seat, her and we were energetically aligned in a pretty potent way. But then also just being in the space of observing the coaching you were doing for her. And you were having a conversation and you just throw this little side comment of like, oh, Maraya, and this relates to you too. And I had to go, wait, huh? And it helped me root in a different way. And there was a big, big breakthrough. There's not really words that can be used other than there were lots of tears. And I watched like a movie film of all these moments in my life where I saw the same pattern happening. And this visual of like this tight little funnel that I was limiting how much could come in based on all the stories from my life. And to go, wait, there could be a breakthrough and I can let that all go, and that I can have everything and open up to the abundance. And I can't put words into it, but it was tremendous from an emotional breakthrough space
That's amazing.
that I'm sure will continue to play out for years to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is huge. That's huge. That's amazing. I just feel that when you were talking to me about that, because that's why we do our work, right? It's for these moments like this. Now, what would you say to people who are thinking about investing or coming into the container, the women, me, the whole process?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's potent. And Shamina's no joke. If my understanding is you're choiceful in who you invite into the space. And I think it's for women that are hungry and wanting to put the time and energy and effort and expansion in. And from what I'm seeing, the results happen. I mean, it's not just me. I also get to hear the wins from the other women. Yeah. And it's spectacular.
That's awesome. Thank you, Maraya. I received that. How would you say your relationship with your husband and your children, and you as even interacting with your clients has changed since you've the shifts that you've been making, because these breakthroughs are pretty huge?
Yeah, the relationship piece is a very raw piece because I've just in the last 6 months brought my husband home, so he's playing the CFO, and I'm in that kind of tension place of feminine and masculine power and recalibrating our relationships. And so it's a space to kind of talk that out. Not that I have total resolution there. I think that that's currently in the process. How I show up as a mother, I think there's more awareness. Like I can see the patterning and I'm more choiceful about my words. Once again, like children, they want it all. Like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? Well, I want this and this and this. And to go like when the first reaction is I want to say, well, you can't have everything. And I go, whoa, let's reframe that. Like they don't get to pick everything off of the catalog and get it all, but to be more choiceful in the energy exchange and the words that I choose, to just be aware of the conditioning that was placed on me as a child and how that's playing out. And then there's big impact in how I'm showing up with the women that I serve. So of course, the women that are coming into my space, they're exhausted, their hormones are out of whack, they're not sleeping, they're lacking confidence. And as a women's health provider, I'm going in through a functional medicine lens. And inevitably, we're talking about standing in our power and what feminine energy feels like and what receiving feels like. And so I'm learning from you and I'm applying it on a day-to-day basis in my own life. And I think it allows me to up-level how I show up for the women that I'm serving.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely love that. Any last things that you want to share that people need to know about this, about working with me, about the container, about the transformation, where they're at, what, anything that you want to share?
Mhm. You're generous. There's a lot that you offer up for free, so to speak, out in the online world. And I think for some, we can go that substantial, and it just doesn't compare to being inside and having the hand holding and the community that happens within that container. I don't think I had realized until I was in your space how much you come from an intuitive space, and to watch you on those hot seats doing your play of energy and interacting with women and helping them along the journey. It's really beautiful to watch. It's powerful.
Receiving that is high honor from you. Thank you, Maraya. I
Mhm.
really appreciate it. So what would you say about your seven-figure self? Where is she? And how do you feel about her?
She's close. She's close. I think it might be this year. And I know what you're saying is, of course, it's this year.
I was like, what do you mean think? I'm like, yes, it's this year.
um,
Of course it's this year.
of course, it's this year. And it's big, it's bold, it's beautiful, it's a legacy, but it's flowing. I think sometimes it's easy to make a leap that the seven-figure self has to work hard and have all these systems and infrastructures and all these employees. And so the nice thing about being in your space is it's a nice reframe for me to go, okay, wait, when it feels so overwhelming, it doesn't have to feel so hard. How do I allow myself to reassess and be in my flow and really prioritize more time doing my meditation in my altar space?
Yeah.
And that's what I preach out in the world, but I get to really practice it here and allow the seven-figure self to be filled up, and
Yeah.
allowing myself to desire and actually fulfill those desires and bring in the right team and have the strategy and the infrastructure, but it seems less and less important. So I think the seven-figure self is a new version of me, and I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah, she's already here. So
She's here.
she's already here.
She's here. She's
She's already
here.
here. I'm already talking to her right now.
Okay,
Right
good.
here, right now. But yeah, thank you, Mariah. This was a great conversation, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate the feedback. I feel like it's hard for people to understand what goes on in this container. But if you had to give them, a comparison from other containers of why this one was different, what would your last thing be?
Mhm. Well, I've had a number of coaches. I've
Yes.
even had other money mindset coaches.
What makes this one different? Me different.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, it's more energetic. It's more intuitive. It feels, I want to say tangible, but that's so contradictory, but it is. It feels much more in my body and true and real. And supportive. And it's a container where there's a lot of love exchanged. And in that love that's exchanged, power is created. And in the power, we end up with our strong strategy and our strong beingness. But it's very different. It's that container of love, but also with hand holding.
Yeah.
It's not a self-paced, just strategy space. You're very generous.
Thank you.
And, I honor your generosity of time and heart. I can really tell that you care deeply about the women that you bring into your space.
I do. I do. On that note, thank you so much, because I'm going to start crying now. But on that note, it's nice to be able to provide that, just to see you guys grow. I mean, you're all super powerful women. I just feel so fortunate to be a little part of your journey of bringing that out to you. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mariah, for your time today, for your beauty, for your essence, and all the things that you bring to the world and our container. We have a pretty amazing container of women, and I'm glad that you're a part of it.
Yes. 7-figure version of Maraya signing off.
That's right. Bye for now.
Thank you.